Oh, last time I talked about the crafting system and how I wanted to avoid going through the design, and then I consequently decided to do so. And rather ironically, I apparently wasn't recording, so I've just been basically talking to myself for the last hour or so, thinking that I was explaining all of this and recording it all and coming up with some cool ideas, which I will now have to basically do entirely retroactively, which is a bit shit, basically. I can't believe I didn't notice. I don't know why, because I know I thought the button had changed and things had happened, but apparently not. So, yeah, oh, I don't know. I'm only really good at winging this stuff. Having to go back over my thing over what I've done is a bit shit, really. But right. So the idea here, now we're gonna have to go back to this, right? Is we want to craft items. So items require a certain level of complexity. Crafting's quite complicated because in most games, it's not just a case of an in and an out could just be an item in and item out. There's other types of things that might need to interact and come into play, and we need to be able to like take account or at least preemptively assume that we might go that way. And if we don't, it doesn't matter so much. We can just ignore that kind of system. But so what I was doing before is, for example, we have these recipes, just basic ones that I was coming up with. So, there might be water, and water isn't necessarily an item, and power may go into like an electric furnace or something. And so the idea is so you have a recipe, you have the inputs and outputs of the recipe, which I might change to produced and consumed and produced or something. I don't know. And so consequently, a recipe can have multiple inputs and outputs, and those inputs and outputs may not necessarily be items. It might be a liquid, a gas, power. I'm sure there's more I can think of at some point, maybe even time, something like that. And the idea being to make it possible to, so we can have like the same input and output data associated with the same kinds of recipes. So here we've got the recipe is a name. It potentially has a crafting device, so it might only be valid in certain instances. When you're like using certain types of crafting stations, which is just a generic thing for it. It could be a workshop, it could be a furnace. I don't know. I can't think of any now. I've literally been playing bloody Minecraft with Mechanism and Industrial Craft and things the last couple of days. But anyway, you get the idea. Recipes can be used in multiple stations. And the idea here is that the inputs and outputs can be of different kinds of things. And so you could also reuse the same inputs and outputs for other recipes. So they're not bound specifically to one. So it's like another level of abstraction between what recipes need, what in inputs and things. So yeah. And now I've added sort of manual and automatic recipes, because some will be like, I don't know, the typical, you put food in a furnace and you give it heat and it automatically goes, oh, I've got a recipe for that, and starts doing it. And yeah, so I came up with some like dummy data for this. So this kind of relates mildly to this if I put this over here. So we've got the item data, which for now is just ID and the string. And then this table is the the input output data. So for example, here we're saying there's wood, 10 wood. It's of type input output item as well as item there. So let's change this to be a bit more specific. Actually, can I minimize the ribbon? That's a ribbon. There we go. Okay, so we've got item. These are coincidentally all items at the moment. And then we have inputs that go all the way down to here and output. Okay, there we go. Right, so what we're saying here is, so there's this is like there's an input output of 10 of item 1. So it's going to use this to switch between the relevant table. So it will find ID 1 in the item table here. So you've got wood, you've got metal, you've got nails, and this is the amount. So it's 10, 5, and 10. And then you have the weapons, and then here you have the recipe data. So these recipes will have a type, so these will be manual. And they will have a crafting ID of like just -1, I suppose. Just there isn't one at the moment. But we could say have, if we had like 1 and we had like a, I don't know, what do they call it? Oh, I don't know why I'm doing it in the same table. It's like a workshop or something, right? But it'd be like a God, I play so many games that have these things in, and I can never for the life of me remember what they're actually called. It's like an armaments table, but it's like a weapon. I just call it a weaponsmith, be more specific, right? So you can have a weaponsmith, so these could be crafted in there, and I mean, you could have 2, workshop, whatever. And then the rest, so the SMG uses the wood, the metal, and the nails inputs and outputs, and then outputs the 4th one, which is the SMG. And then the exact same premise for the sniper, so it will use the same IDs until it gets to the thing that it outputs, which would be a sniper, and then the same for the AK. So now we've got like the data structure set up so that you can you can just what am I going for here? So this is set up so that you can like reuse this input output data anywhere. It's almost pointless because the only data replication we're saving is like maybe a couple of integers. So in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of pointless, but equally it does make it so we're not reusing information anywhere. So you could argue it makes sense to not have like you avoid like copy and paste errors doing stuff like this typically, because if it's wrong it will obviously be wrong, and then you realize that you're referencing an input or an output to a recipe that you didn't intend to or something. So yeah, now comes the arguably horrors of having to actually put all of this information into my game and use it, because we now need to create 3 enumerations and 4 completely new tables. Even though they're quite primitive, the process of starting the engine, creating the table, closing the engine, populating the information, starting the engine, creating the next one. So I'm going to fire this up because it's probably the longest bit, and I'm going to start making this in my Java application. Now I'm going to need to be relatively clever when I do this. Because this stuff is easy. Yeah, okay. Let's think about this. So if I go in here, so this is my data exporter as usual. Right, so I need at least, do I need one for everything? I can ignore the IDs and I can ignore this. So I don't need to make a production thing for this. I don't need to like manually make it at all. It will automate it. So what I'm thinking is we go in here. What's this? Right, so we go in items. So we want to make, can I, is it row data that I make these from? No, so these are just standard things. Okay, so we want to make recipe. I'm going to have to kind of make these at the same time. So this is going to be row data. Okay, that's promising. So we need to use another one as an example. So we probably want to copy this. Icon folder we don't, oh, hang on. It's not that we copy. Oh, yeah, no, I'm doing the wrong thing entirely. It would be like armor perhaps. Yeah, okay, there we go. So we need this principle in here. We don't need table name because that's going to be static. Yeah, that's just because it auto generates it. Right. Go here. Yeah. I'm going to try. Yeah, it should be right. So we go recipe and we go recipe table. Recipe data. Recipe table. There we go. Right. Okay, so we're going to need a lot more information in here. So we're going to definitely need, not this at all. Right, and if I go in here, we're going to start doing the same here because this, as I said, this is just going to be an absolute pain in the ass, but I've got to do it. C++ class, CSV table. Right, so this is going to be recipe table. I think that's all it needs to be. Blah, 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 items, create. Oh, actually, it probably does need that. Okay, I need to go into here. Right, so we have recipe and then we wanted input output data. Yeah, I think that's fine. So this is going to have, yeah, ID, input output ID. Should be able to just copy and paste most of this. Does this need to extend row data? How does Armor do it? Yeah, I think it does actually. Let's delete this and do it again because it does need an actual data table. Right, there we go. Then we want the same principle from here. Input outputs. I don't really care too much. Same thing here. Input output table. Okay, looking good, right. It's usually the stuff I forget. So in here, so we want we just want int id int input output id int amount, and then whether it's input or output, and input output type. So we need 2 new things in here as well. So we just want to create a new enumeration. So we go item, liquid, gas, power. Oh, I've got so much going on here. Is this? Yeah, reload all. Yeah. Alright, so I need to do this for 1, 2, 3, at least 3 times. Whoops, right. Okay, so we start this up again. Right, can I do this? No, I can't. That'd be really cool. Input output type. The type, and then yeah, it's a bit silly, but I think it's a bit easier to think about. Just call it input or output. Yeah. Because there might be something else later. Right. So this should be fine to create it as it is now. So if I do source generate constructor using fields. Huh. Okay. Alright, hang on. Do the same again. I'll just take it a short while to sort it out. Okay. So we've done this, but instead of obviously we don't want the ID. The ID is going to be generated. Do you mind? I'm trying to read this. Thank you. Wait, how do I do it with armor? Oh, okay. So it's less the constructor and more the, yeah, static. Okay, fine. Alright. Public static input output data. I always get this the wrong way around, so I type it. Okay, armor does create item, and it should get the ID. Yeah, IMID. Okay, cool. So we shouldn't have to do that, but we probably want this string should actually be type name, and yeah, so we don't need this ID, but what we want to do is switch on type. Hopefully we can just generate the add missing case statements, and on item we can do item dot get item by name type name. Okay, cool. And then this will have the same premise for other things. Yeah, it does that, and it returns -1. Cool. Okay. All right. So yeah, so we can pass in the type name, which could be string, or which could be like, I don't know, SMG, sniper, or water and fire, or whatever, right? Some form of power or something. Whether it's an input output, the type it is. So let's just do everything that doesn't need to be figured out first. The amount that, okay, cool. So that works, that creates it, auto increments that, and then the create data should be the same kind of deal as we have here. So I don't need these anymore. And we want the same idea here. We go input outputs. So we do get string ID. Do we want the type? Probably not. Oh, I could have, hang on, well, we've got get string. Do I have it for other? Somewhere else I've done it with enumerators. Oh yeah, you just do a dot to string. Wonderful, right. So I don't need that. And I need, hello. Oh, yeah, no, it's a fair point. Um, yeah, I've never got on with the dark theme. I find the contrast too challenging. Which I suppose is ironic because that's the reason most people use the dark theme instead of the light. But yeah, I'm pretty good, thanks. How are you? Uh, time input. Right, am I missing anything? Amount, as usual. That would be hilarious. Imagine that. Okay, fair enough. I think it's relative lighting. So if you don't have enough other light to balance it, it yeah, it starts to hurt your eyes. Like I've got a light to the side here and above me facing this way, but you don't want to have a high contrast of light because it blinds you. You know, it's like looking at lights at night, whereas if you look at the same headlights in day, it doesn't hurt your eyes as much and all that kind of stuff. Um, yeah. um, cool. So I think that should be this done. Uh, yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, I have like really high watt LEDs and stuff like that near me, so yeah. I used to play games basically in the dark with just my screen illuminating me, and my eyes would I'd just go blind basically, or I couldn't see very well after the fact. That's for sure. um, why? Oh, I don't know why I'm doing these things. Okay. Um, right. So that should work. Yep. Oh no, the irony. Uh, oh god, where's the Unreal Engine? Right, it's here. Reload all. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think I need a few more tables. Right. So that's this one. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Right now we need another one. Once we've made them, it will actually just be a case of adding to them one at a time. Right. Yeah, welcome back. Did you find them in the end? Recipe, right. Uh, I need to make this different. How do I... maybe I can't. It does tend to help when you're looking at things, so I've been told. Okay, we need the create first. Oh, this is going to be interesting. So we want public static recipe create recipe. So, what do we actually need? So we need a name, string name, capital string. It's capital. No, wait, it shouldn't be. Oh no, it is. Okay. In crafting device ID. I'm terribly sorry. I mean, actually, I haven't checked themes in quite a while. That's appearance. Preferences. Do we have themes in here, or is it somewhere else? TextMate theme. Light. I don't have much variety. Well, they're not very good. Can you download more? I mean, probably can. Sure. Oh yeah, that one. I mean, that's basically this, right? I, oh, cool. That's good. It didn't do that at all. Is that not? Oh, that's TextMate themes. That's my bad. How did I? I thought I clicked on the original colors and fonts and things. Apparently not. Appearance. Oh, there we go. Right. That's classic. We'll find out. Yeah, I mean, it's all right. Oh wow, yeah, that is classic. Damn, I feel like I've gone back 20 years. Okay, this one wasn't. No, it's looks the same to me. um, color and font theme. Yeah, they really don't have much going. Surprised. Does it really need to? Oh, there you go. Wow, see now that ironically that's now hurting my eyes. But it's definitely easier to read the text. Problem is or some of it, the grey on dark black, sorry, on dark grey, doesn't do me any favors. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, I'll carry on as I will. I'll leave it for now. I don't care too much. Right. Yeah. No, brace yourself. Oh yeah, recipe type. So I need another enumeration. Enumerate. One enumerate, please. Thank you. Recipe type. So obviously the recipe types are James, Kyle, and Fred. You know, what else would they gonna be? What am I looking for? Right, so we're here. So, oh, we're kind of creating it from there, and I should have been doing it in there. Hang on. We want string name, not capital ST string. Thank you very much. Int crafting device ID, and consequently recipe type. There we go. We pass those in here. Now the fun part. So we want this. Data equals new. These return. Oh, whoops. Data. Why is that complaining? Oh, have I done a? Oh, there we go. So what? Oh. Those are just coming out as arbitrary links to me, so I'm not sure. Yeah. Right. I just need this. That should auto set that. So then we just do. Cool. I'll see you in a bit. Data dot crafting device and data dot type. Why are you complaining? That's weird. probably better to do, if we do it in this order. Huh. Oh, right. Yeah, it helps if you actually make them do something. Duh. I was like, summons up. Yeah, no, I'll change this back. It's I might look into other things another time. Alright, that would do. Oh, I can see again. Okay, so that's those two tables. Now, right, so this also needs input output data. But it's going to be, we put 3 dots here. This is now an infinite scaling array of input and output data. So this will allow us to create lots of it. The idea here is we do for input output data, just call it IO data. In here, what do we do here? Huh? Why have I got? Oh yeah, I got get string because it's a yeah okay. What are we trying to do? Oh yeah, we're trying to make new recipe input output data. So now if I go in here and we go here and we go class, browse, row, no, row data, input. So this is now recipe input output data. Finish. Oh, right. So if we go in here, you do exactly the same premise that we've already done with this, and this is going to be, so this is actually going to not use its own ID, technically, but let's add it anyway. And if we go in here and we do int recipe ID int input output data ID. Okay, and we're gonna output those. I might as well, doesn't it? It's silly not to at this point. It doesn't really cost as much. Just a bit of extra effort in here. Hang on, let's get rid of that real quick. Okay, so we go here, here. We copy this. Get the table. Oh, whoops. I've done it again. Right, delete that, do that, do that. Thank you very much. Get the last ID, it's going to be this. Then we want this. Make it one of these. Oh my god, and then we want to create one of these, so then we want public. Wow, I cannot spell that worse. Public static recipe input output data create recipe input output data. Oh my god. Okay. In and let me copy this. One of these. No, we don't need that. Turn data dot that equals that data dot recipe ID equals recipe ID. Okay, so we got the data, we got the table name, we got that set. We fixed the table name in here. We have, so we've got this. So now for each of these, we have to do we need to create a new one. So we do create recipe and then we do ID and IO data.id. Data.id. Huh? Right. Why is that not working? In. I mean, okay, there we go. Right. So now we pre-create input output data in a list. We give recipe name, potential crafting device, type. If I put this at the end, oh no, I can't. Okay, that makes sense. Let's just match those up a bit. So this will automatically link itself to each of the input output data. So if I go in here, right, we should be able to do something like if we go, so recipes are going to be more important than crates of data, but we'll get around to sorting this out at some point. But if I do recipe dot create recipe and we do barricade crafting device, so recipe type is going to be recipe type dot, oh yeah, not Fred isn't a recipe type. Manual and automatic. Manual and, I mean, he could be if he wanted to be, right? That's all that matters. Recipe type manual. -1 and consequently, right, so now we go new. input output data dot, oh no, we do this, create input output data. Right, now the fun begins. So this is going to be wood. The amount is going to be 10. But output type dot item input. Right, so we need to create a lot of these. So we're just going to copy and paste. Okay, this is where the easy bit comes in. So if I do nails in here, and let's say it takes, I don't know, 30 nails, then we do metal, and we do like, yeah, 10 metal. Should be accessed in a static way. Huh? Is that not what I'm doing? We're inside the create recipe. Oh, I missed a comma. Ah, there we go. I wondered why it was complaining. Right, everything else had worked. And then we copy this, and then we want an output. So this could be a barricade. So if we find the actual proper name, just in case. So I'm gonna fuck it up sometime. Barricade. There we go. This is where it gets a little awkward if you do get the things wrong. It produces 1 and it is a output. And huzzah, we have a recipe system. So now I need to go all the way down here. We do this and we go recipe dot recipes. We go recipe input output data dot that oh, hang on, we do input output data next. Input outputs, right. So we do the recipes. Oh, hang on, if we their IDs are being created already. Should be fine. This doesn't do a lookup as such. It only does it here. This should just look up the item. So as long as I do the items, yeah, no, it should be fine. I do need to obviously retain an amount of data integrity with this stuff, so they've got to be done in the right order. But the creation shouldn't be the problem. So it's only in creation that should be where the issues come in. So I'll section this up a bit better at some point. So we've got barricade. It's a manual thing, doesn't have a crafting station requirement. Needs 10 wood, that's an item, that's an input. 30 nails, that's an item, that's an input. 10 metal, item, input. Barricade 1, item, output. Perfect. So this will tell me what table I need to read this data from. And then, yeah. Okay. Right. So for now, I'm just going to set all of the requirements to be 1, and just to keep it simple. And we're going to generate that. And let's see what our table data looks like. So if we come into here, somehow I've lost the link to the actual tables. I don't know when that happened, but there we go, tables. Right, so we should now have recipe data, recipe input output data, and input output data. So if I open this, there we go. So we've got all the relevant information. So these are the item IDs, so the input and the output. So if I then consequently open the item data table, we can see that in here 16 is wood, 17 is nails, and 20 should be metal. And there it is. Barricade is 19 output. Then if we go into the recipe data, we've got 0, barricade, manual, -1, which is perfect. I don't think there's anything more to that. And then the recipe input output data. So recipe 0 has these input outputs. Perfect. That should be all of the data produced. So we have input output data, recipe table, and now we need the if I go in here, now I need the recipe input output data. So if I go into here, here, new, all classes, CSV, table, done. Right, I'm going to pop to Lou real quick. Back again. Right, sorry. Alright, reload all. We are now on the last table in here, so we need to pull this one back out of our ass. Right. There we go. One of those, one of those, one of those. Get rid of this. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Right. So, we have tables in here. 3 of them, which is all I've made since. Got the tables in here, which seem to be working. Cool. So I just need to make C++ versions of the Java versions, which I really, really want to make a table generator from Java, because it would take me like 20 minutes to come up with. So I'll have to do that at some point in the future. I can't be asked at the moment because it's not worth bothering. So now if I close other things, right, so I need a working example because this is going to be a pretty quick copy and paste for the most part. So we want this item structs stuff here. Right, so we've got some 3 new enumerations. So if we copy these and we come down here, do we keep them together? I might as well keep them together. So if we go to bottom of sheet, there we go. Right, down here. So we have E, Fredrickson, recipe type. And this is going to be manual, automatic. Oh, no, it's all good. Well, thanks for dropping by. Yeah, I'll see you around. Have a nice weekend. Recipe type. Oh, cheers. I'm not sure if my things are... Yeah, for some reason it's bugged. Yeah, I'm not getting notifications come through for that on here. I don't know why. It's been broken for a while. Doesn't matter. Okay, so if we do the recipe table first, so we have that. We want f string name just empty crafting device ID type. So we want to read this in the same way it went out. Crafting data. So ID, name, type, crafting ID. ID, name, so we want type. So if we copy this and we go, oh, this should be recipe data. Guardian Leviosa. Right, type. And there we have it. Right. Oh, right. This should be there. Okay. Perfect. Right. Then we want to copy this, and then we want the consequent recipe input output data. Let me put a massive F in front of there. And we have recipe ID, wherever that's gone. Recipe ID and input output ID, or it does also have its own ID. So and if I get rid of these and I copy this, and it's obviously got its own ID, right? Oh, I changed the wrong one. I'm good at this game, at this, I swear. Right, there's that. and then we need another one. And this is going to have some other enumerates, 2 of which. So then we want input output data. So we want f input output type, which you should be able to copy and paste from here. And then we want another one, which is input or output. If we have end, and end in here. Okay, and then this is going to be input output data. Right, so now we have input output data, right? So this is ID, this is going to be input output ID, this is going to be amount, which should always default to 1. And then we want to do 2 more. One of them's that, other one is that. And then we have input or output and type. Type is going to default to end, and that's going to equal end. There we go. Right. So that's all the structures created. And the enumerates. So we've got 3 extra types. Now I probably need a thing for each of the enumerates as well. So we'll just go on down here. That's interesting. Okay. If I pull this across here, so we've got 3 of them. So we want recipe type. Let's do one of them because the rest should be similar at least. So automatic, manual, and end. And this is going to be get recipe type. And we create the definition, which should what? Why is it so? Don't know why it's doing it like that. And it's added a forward declaration. So we seem to have got this class like okay, hang on. I want to copy this out because it's a bit awkward where it is, I guess. Ah. Oh, okay, hang on, I know. So if we pull that back there, but then we Right, okay, hang on. We want the enumerations. I should probably split these as well to just a completely different file and at least include it back in here or something, but whatever, that will do, right? We shouldn't run into that problem again. And then we copy this, we paste this, and then we go and input output type, item, gas, liquid and power. And then this should be get that, create declaration, which should be static again. And then we come back up here and we have input or output, which should be the last one. Input, output. Oh yeah, and then, oh wait, stop it. Static again. Just trying to make sure I've got everything in place. Okay, so we don't need item structs at CBP anymore. Okay, so that should be all of those. Right, so now I need to do the tables. So we go here. Right, so we copy this, go into the recipe table, we copy this, we go one of those, and we, no, thank you. This is going to be recipe data. Hang on, I was, thank you. Oh, recipe data. Okay, there we go. And then we go here. We're gonna have to do this multiple times. We copy this, paste it in here, and we do this. The table name is should just be recipe data table or something. Recipe data. And then we do recipe data add, and here we go. So we do f recipe data. So we got name, we got type. Yeah, okay. So I need to do these as well. So I need to do the inverse. Right. So back again. Come on, off you pop. Right. So now I need to do the equivalent gets. I wish it was more straightforward, but oh yeah, I got a lot of else if things that don't need to be here. Normally I do this differently. Hang on. Oh, it really was just that one. Okay. Well, I'd have to do all of them. Right. Okay, so if I go down here, right, so now we want to do the same that we did before. So we have get recipe type. Recipe type. Automatic, manual. Yep. Manual. Great. All right. And then we can do the same here. Where's that gone and put it? Right here. Wonderful. Okay, now we can do the same for the rest. Right, so we come down here. And now we have get input output type. Item. Gas. Don't know why I'm not just doing it like this. There we go. Liquid. Power. Cool, that's an easy way of doing it. So I'll copy this one again because it's about the same size as the previous next one. All right, input or output. Oh boy. And we create this. We make them static. Static, static. Cool, right, that's absolutely ideal. It might be possible in the future to use a DLL that can use like Python, and I use the Python for both the data generation in, in this, and then consequently it can generate the C++, and then it makes a DLL, and then I reference the tables by names, and then it just like, it generates all of this information, all of the C++ equivalent info. That'd be really fucking awesome. But we shall cross that bridge when we come to it. Right, so here we are. So now we can do get recipe type. Oh, hey. And if we come into here, so we have that ID. Cool, right. This will be crafting device ID. Get infant string. Okay. Nice. So I think that's how my data is structured. So we've got the base ID, the name, the type, and the other one. Cool, right. That's table number 1. And table number 2 is going to be this one, input output data. So we kind of collapse all of this down a bit. We can just put this back up here, and we go back to recipe table, go to the header. So we don't need the item data table anymore. We can copy this, put output data table, we go here. So this is this is F, input output data. Okay, perfect. So now we've got all of that, and then we go here. Copy this, go here. This. Steal this. Do that, do that, do that. The table name, it should be input output data, which it is. Okay, so now we have ID name, which we shouldn't have because this should be F input output data. There we go. Right, what's the data structure? So it's its ID, the main ID, so we want a get in from string, so this will be the input output ID. Then the type, which will be get input output type. And then get input or output basically, so this will be same as that. This will be input or output. Oh, it's so good when it works like this. Oh, that's so cool. Right, so that's another table done. So that's ID, input output ID, type. Yeah, so it's getting it from string. Wait, am I missing something here? It looks like I am. Oh, the amount. I'm an idiot. That's the amount, right. There we go. Right. That looks better. Amount of one, item, input output. Sold. Okay, so last one that links it all together. This one, right. So we go here. We steal this. This is going to be F. Recipe, input, output data, add include. Cool. Recipe table. Let me come here. Okay, this is F. Recipe, input, output data, and we just literally need 3 of these. And this is recipe ID and input output data ID, and this is going to be recipe input output data. Hell yeah. And then the last final set of things that we need to do is actually make these accessible and loadable inside our table manager. So in here we have to do class one of those, class u, input recipe input output. Oh no, hang on. Class u recipe table, and then we copy one of these a few times. And then we just put this in here. There's the data at the end. Get rid of the U. Perfect. We go back here. We're nearly done. Okay, there we go. Then we can create 3 of these. And then we want to go up here. Nope. If I close others and we do this, we come down here. 1, 2, 3. Again, I'm sure there's a fairly better way of doing this kind of stuff, but for now, it doesn't matter because as long as they exist somewhere, they will inevitably be viable later on. I could easily make an application that does this sort of stuff for me because it's the same process again and again, but I'm not that fussed at the moment. So here we go, right. And I just need to fix the type in a second. Okay, hang on. No, go away. Include, and include. Then we go up here. You probably want to go up here as well. And we just call them each once, which will load the data. Come in here, one of those, one of those, one of those. Right, and now I can hit the button and see what happens. So the most important one, I suppose, is going to be, well, I mean, there's obviously the recipe table, but this one. So if I put a breakpoint on here and hit run, assuming I haven't caused a ass ton of compilation errors, it'll run, and then we shall have data, and we don't. Okay, right. Structure initializing lists are only allowed on constructed definition. That's a new one. Okay. And if I go to new recipe input output. Why is this defined? That's interesting. Why did it first fail? Right. So error overloaded function not found. So that would be why. Oh, have I simply missed it? Huh? Hang on. Yeah, I have. Have I missed it in the other ones? No, that's really weird. I don't know why that was the case. Okay, build. Oh, I'll just build. Haven't missed it in the other ones, have I? There's that one. That one. It's meant to be public. We'll see. Should be fine. Okay, yeah, I know. Right. Why are you having problems with that all of a sudden? Oh, this is one of those where it thought it wasn't being used and it was. Sometimes ReSharper thinks things are good or are bad incorrectly. Oh, that was weird. Okay. We're close. We've eliminated most of them. Let's see. Yep, there you go. See. It's the little things. Hey, right, it's running. And if I hit, let's make a few more recipes, right? Because I might as well. Because it's either going to work with all of them or none of them. So if we go into here, and let's say we wanted to make a gun and we just say it requires literally one metal. So we go here, delete that, and let's say, I don't know, let's just say sniper, right? And then we have another one that's for SMG, and then another one for AK. And if I hit run, item not found AK. Okay, let's. Yeah, Are you not responding? Come on, thank you. Did I not? Did I get rid of it? Maybe I did. Oh, I've got MP5. Okay, fine. Okay. There we go. Right. So that should be updated. That should be updated. There we go. Right. So it's generated all of that. So we've got a bit more data to play with. And in theory, I hit play and it hits the breakpoint, and I go and hover over this. And the data is empty. Hmm. Oh, is that the first time it's... Packages not exist. Oh, it's not because I got them open, is it? Because that's often the problem. Be weird. But that's usually what causes it. No, it's empty. Okay, so let's have a look. Load data. So, okay, let's instead go here. Oh, it does it after the fact. Right, okay. So if I go back to here, get rid of that. Oh, where have we gone? Right. So we're here, so it's loaded. Yep, looks like the right kind of data. So if I go to the end and we hover over this, cool, we've got 10 items in here. Item input output, item. Wonderful, okay. So that's proved that it's loaded the data, nothing's complained about it. The AI isn't here, cool, right. So now we need to actually craft something and utilize said data. So I'm just going to go get another drink and I'll be back imminently. There we go. Imminent. Right, so I need a new set of buttons to press. Or just a new button anyway. We're gonna make it C, of course. Do we have anything for C already? Probably not. Oh god. Eventually it will just be part of the inventory or whatever you're interacting with, but we're going to call it craft and it shall be linked to C. Okay, there we go. So we got that. That's called craft. Now we can come into here. We can close all of this. We can go into here. And go into the player controller. So in here we want to have a bind action in here. Oh, whoops. Craft. Get Garrett to here. Do we have I don't know, whatever. And now we want to make something called craft. Oh, not craft, not craft. Craft. Create declaration. And then we want get character craft. Oh, whoops. This. Don't know how I'm doing some of the other actions. Didn't I have... Don't know where sprint and everything's ended up. Oh, right, they're all up here. Why have I got two... Huh? How have I ended up? That's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna need to start using the new input stuff as well at some point. But that's yeah, again, something else for another time. Okay, so this is where the fun begins. So I need to actually make items. So we need to find recipes, and consequently I'm probably just gonna stop this because this might take a while. There's no point having it running in the background whilst I'm doing things. So I know. Okay, so we're gonna go into the item structs. And we're gonna make something called full recipe somewhere. Item structs. I'm gonna go down here, all the way to the bottom of wherever we've done recipes. And it's kind of lazy, maybe might be practical, not sure. But we'll see what happens. So this is where the fun begins. So this is actually going to be now F recipe data, recipe, and shift, oh whoops, recipe, and then we want T array, and this is going to be F input output data. So this is going to be inputs, and we might as well section it off into outputs just to be very clear. Okay, so what we want is to make one of these. So we go for F recipe data in. Right, game instance, game instance, or have I just got it as how have I done it in this place? There should be. That's interesting. I haven't done it in here. So if I do this and I do u base game instance, and then I do yeah, that's interesting. I guess I've not needed to use it from this perspective before. Get this, that, this. If base game instance not equal to no, or hang on, if it is. So do I have? Yeah, okay, so okay, cool, right. Instance equals that. And then return. There we go, right, so now we've got kind of a more static-y approach. Oh, hang on, that. And realistically, I should be using this everywhere. So this would be get get table manager dot get recipe, nope, table data. Okay, that's that part. And let me just fix this elsewhere. Beautiful, right. So I shouldn't be using this anywhere else. Okay, good. Yeah, right. So now we get all the recipes, and then we do F full recipe equals hang on, full recipe dot recipe equals recipe data, and then we do for F recipe input output data RIOD in get base game instance dot get table manager dot, and I probably want to do something here because that's obnoxious. You table manager equals this, just so I don't have to type the damn thing every time. It's silly. So get recipe input output data. Okay, then we can do if IOD dot recipe ID equals recipe data dot ID, then we can do switch IOD. Oh, hang on. Then we need to do for F input output data IOD in table manager dot get apparently I haven't made that one. No, I have. Oh. It's not get. Input output data table. Hang on. One of these. If IOD dot ID equals RIOD dot that. And we switch on here. We do case. We switch on IOD dot input or output if case input, then we do full recipe dot inputs dot add IOD. We're building a full fucking bloody thing from scratch, right? Cover that. Yeah, okay. Whoops, break. And so now we have the recipes. So this should iterate over all the links between the recipes and their inputs and outputs, add them to an associated list, and now I can do something like for full recipe fr in how we want a array t array recipes. We do this dot add full recipe. That goes in there. We go recipes. I could just do it in here, but just to kind of separate the get the data and then the do stuff with it. Now I could do something like get character get inventory dot add item, right? Table manager dot get item data, and we get the item data for the full recipe dot outputs dot 0 dot ID. Yeah, item. Oh, hang on. We want an instance item data. So this would be, well, this would actually be another loop, but if we go F, instance item data, IID dot item ID equals that, ID dot amount equals, so this would actually be, let's do this properly as well, for f input output data in fr outputs, the ID is going to equal that dot I'm kind of half-arsing this, it seems. One of those dot input output ID this will then be that, and this is instant item data. We need a ID list, so it's t-array int32 IDs. Pass this into here. The amount is IOD dot amount. And then this is just missing that. Oh, I put that in the wrong place. And this is actually going to be, oh, there's add item. Oh, right, I'm being an idiot. I don't need the item data. I just need the IID. Okay, so now, after all that, so this, when I press C, should hit the craft, load all the recipes, add the recipes to a recipe list, and go through all the outputs and give me the output as if I'd crafted them. So this is just going to forcibly give me every recipe in the game's output, which should be a barricade, a sniper, SMG, and an MP5. Right, so where have we fucked this up? Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Begin container. Oh, I think I need to do dot, get data. Then dot get data. And I need to change that, but that will do for now. I can make that have an automatic casting or something at some point. Right, wish me luck. Oh, good grief. And all that needs to do is, if this works once, I just need to pull all of this out into a standard method in like the table manager or something, so it can do all of this generation here. And then I just need to say, oh, are you in the right crafting point for this recipe? And then load the relevant ones and then make UI that auto generates things based on it. So if I go here, right, and oh, whoops. If I press C, it hasn't worked. Right, so let's see where we got to. So for a start, does the button press a tool? Yep. Do we have recipes? We have 4 recipes. Barricade, ID number 1. Okay. So let's see if I come into here, see what data we get. So we've got, this has, oh, it's 0 outputs. Ah, that's why. There you go. Simple problem, easy solution. Ignore, let's whoops. Undo that. Alright, gotta recompile, hang on. That should take a short while. Come on. It actually worked up to that point as already, which is pretty cool. There we go, finished. So, right, we hit this. Hey, hey! We just got a barricade, a sniper, an SMG, and an MP5. Awesome. I can swap these out and move them around, and yeah, there we go. We just crafted these. We obviously didn't consume the items for them, but we pressed a button and they appeared in our inventory. And it shouldn't break if I keep pressing it. It should just basically come back with a, you can't be doing that because your inventory's full, which I haven't got any user information for, because we haven't got this far before. So awesome. So that is going from data generated from a Java application to CSVs, to loading the CSVs, to connecting the data together, to putting it in the right place, to then getting the data again and adding it into the player's inventory. And now this concept can be used to make all of the crafting systems. So I can, all I have to do is make it so the player interacts with something, it presents them with UI. The UI has a button or something that triggers its recipes, and this recipe list will be preloaded at the start of the game, and all it has to do here is determine, based on the data of the recipe, whether it's automatic or manual. If it's an automatic recipe, so like if you were to put a campfire down and put some meat in and there's some heat provided, then you can, obviously, it's an automatic recipe, so it should trigger itself basically whilst heat, cook food sort of thing. So it will look through these recipes, it will go, oh, this is a recipe that I'm meant for. So, you would do a if, so the recipe dot crafting device ID equals, it'd be this dot crafting recipe ID, whatever. Then that could be like, the campfire or the workbench or whatever. And then you can go, and if, and then that dot recipe dot type automatic, then it can create a list of automatic recipes, and then it can hook into its inventory, which will then trigger receive updates as items are added and removed. And if an item is added, it can check its state and then determine if there are any recipes where the input that the players put in the ID matches any of the inputs it requires. And that's it. And then that's the whole crafting system. And at the other side of it is also obviously just the player pressing the button, and then the crafting happens, and it just takes items, removes items, and adds items like we already do. We already add and remove items at will, because every time if I fire this gun, hit reload, you can see it will take the right amount of ammo. So if I take another 10, you can see that goes down to 80. So we've already got that, and obviously we can add items because we can like scavenge the stuff from here, and it's all there basically. And then it's just a case of content. I just need to add hundreds of recipes. And then obviously you make the crafting a bit more complicated because multiplayer does some things. And what happens if the player removes an item that hasn't finished crafting? And I probably need to add crafting time for the recipe, for instance, and all that kind of stuff. But like that in of itself is a more complicated thing because also like the power concept is quite unique, so I'd need to figure out. I might want to separate the concept of things needing power and have it so that devices need power to produce things, recipes, but I'll see how far I get with that side of things. It might need to be done in an XML format rather than a CSV to allow for a bit more free-form data and stuff, basically. I have to think about that one. Because I think, yeah, in Minecraft, heat keeps dissipating even whilst you're not crafting. But in other games, they use heat as like it adds value and then things remove that value. So I don't know where I want to go with that because obviously from a realistic perspective, the fire should just keep burning until it then needs to consume more fuel. Equally, you could just have it so fuel is a value and it's just a type of name, and player puts in wood and it equals this amount of power or something. That's a whole nother kettle of fish. But I'm pretty happy with that. I didn't think it would only take as long as it has. So yeah, I've kind of got the rest of the evening, but I definitely need to stop talking for a while. So I've had a singing lesson as well, so earlier. Ah, great. Right. So we've gone straight from design to code to generation of data to usage of data. 2 hours I built a crafting system from scratch. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Oh, jeez. I wish I had been able to do this a few years back. I would have been almost finished with most of this by now. I'm going to have to rebuild most of the project from scratch at some point anyway, because there's a lot of concepts that I could probably improve on, so I'm going to have to. Most of it will be fine, but I think a lot of it, this kind of stuff, it's just a bit. It could be. I'm sure I could figure out better systems for approaching a lot of these aspects of the game. Yeah, I haven't even done base building properly yet. But it's there and it functions. It adds dynamically, creates objects and stuff. So who knows? Cool. Right. That's all I've got in me basically. I will come back probably tomorrow and keep going. More stuff, more more things to produce basically. Oh, why has that got some weird syntax highlighting going? Who knows? Right, cool. Yeah, so I'll leave it there and I'll see you guys around. I think I'm just gonna play Battlefield or something. Yeah, who knows? Cool. See ya.